And so, this congressional committee is beginning to peel back the deep state onion that apparently is rotten to the core, filled with partisan hacks who care more about their political party than this nation. Question is not whether there is corruption at the FBI. The question is, how deep does it go? Joining me now from Washington, D.C., President of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, you're on the record saying the FBI appears to be KGB-like. It's unfortunate. So we have Andy McCabe testifying before the committee today. He's in the middle of all this. When you look at this so-called insurance policy, the insurance policy, now we've referenced several times in this segment, but it's very important because it goes to what we're talking about and the apparent corruption and the apparent partisanship at the FBI. And it was the Inspector General who discovered this email and then made it known eventually to Robert Mueller after many, many months of sitting on it, apparently. This goes to the highest levels of the FBI. This appears to be, I hate to use this word, a conspiracy of some kind, at least running through some avenues of the FBI.
Yeah, you have to wonder why it is that Peter Strzok is still there in the FBI headquarters or wherever exactly he's working for the FBI. Andrew McCabe as well. You know, it looks to me like they're being protected by the FBI leadership despite this evident corruption that they were involved in. When you've got senior leadership talking about political campaigns and having insurance in case one politician wins, I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat, that's terribly corrupt. And anyone involved in that conversation shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power at the FBI. But it's not, you know, they're still being protected, as you point out, Graham. They covered up this information about his removal because they didn't want to deal with the politics of what would happen when it became out. And I guarantee the only reason it was released was because my experience is there's a draft IG report floating around. Yeah. They see what's in it, and they want to get ahead of it. But this is going to be, I think, about as serious a scandal as has ever confronted the FBI, because it's pretty clear between Mr. Comey, McCabe, and Strzok, the senior leadership of the FBI had it in for Donald Trump, and it impacted their investigations targeting him and also protecting his political opponent at the time, Hillary Clinton.
Conspiracy, when I talk about conspiracy, I'm not just using that term lightly. I'm talking about a conspiracy to prevent Donald Trump from winning the presidency. And when you couple it, and I don't want to go there, but if you just throw in the Obama end of things,
or harm him if he harm him if he did win.
Sure. And that's where we are now. But when you throw in there the unmasking in the FISA courts and the Obama wing of this, again, I use the word conspiracy, it all starts fitting together. But one more thing. January 6th, I want to go back, Tom, to January 6th, I believe it was, when Director Comey meets with President-elect Trump and tells him about the dossier and goes into detail about the dossier. I now look at that, and even back then, it was a suspect to me, but it appears to me this was almost a blackmail meeting. This is the insurance policy. The insurance policy is the dossier.
Yeah, maybe the insurance policy was to help the FBI leadership that was terribly corrupted and compromised keep all their jobs.
Yeah.
Look, Andrew McCabe, we have documents that Judicial Watch uncovered, not the media, not Congress, showing he had a conflict of interest, the Hillary Clinton issue, because of his wife's taking of 6 figures in money for her political campaign from Clinton crony Terry McAuliffe, the outgoing governor of Virginia. The documents we have show that McCabe thought it was okay. James Comey thought it was okay until the week before the election, and then he recused himself. So McCabe was involved in the Clinton email investigation until the week before the election. By then, of course, the investigation had largely been killed, and then he recuses himself. And Comey's approving of all of this. McCabe has got has a lot to answer for, not just the text messages that implicate him, but also his apparent corruption with being involved in an investigation from which he was conflicted out by his own admission.
Peter Strzok, as you mentioned, the guy is still at the FBI. It's unbelievable that he could do all and have his fingerprints on all these different aspects. The Hillary investigation, he actually interviewed Hillary Clinton, and of course, she walks. He changed the Comey exoneration wording interviewed Michael Flynn, and we know what happened with Michael Flynn eventually. And of course, he has his fingerprints on the dossier. But again, he's still at the FBI. Meantime, the FBI is stonewalling Congress in terms of producing this guy. Congress wants to produce this, to talk to this guy, and the FBI should produce him. So the new director of the FBI should be saying, yes, go ahead and testify, shouldn't he?
Well, you would think, but they're defending the indefensible, which is stonewalling Congress. We've been battling the FBI for the text messages. We've been battling the FBI about, and the Justice Department, over payments to the dossier, basic information. Right, they don't even want to confirm or deny whether this dossier information exists.
Right.
That's how over the top they are in terms of this illicit secrecy. And Mr. Mueller himself has now been implicated in this scandal because he kept the information away from the American people for months about this FBI agent who he thought was biased enough that he needed to remove from the Trump investigations.
I think that it's time that we try and fix the deep state. And I mean we, because I think this is bigger than the federal government. I don't think the federal government can fix itself in this case as in other cases. And I think it's time for a grand jury, a sitting federal grand jury of we the people, to hold these people accountable, piece this thing together for the American people, and get to the truth, along with, of course, help from Judicial Watch. Tom, keep up the good work. Thank you.